It's hard for me to pick just one way that the women's ministry has impacted me here at Riverview. From the first day that I walked into a life group about almost 3 years ago, the women accepted me with open arms. Even after I said that I didn't know if I believed in God, they loved me anyway. They didn't judge me. They just accepted me. And, this past year has been an especially, painful but a beautiful process in just surrendering my singleness. And every time I would reach out for prayer because I was lonely or sad or thought that I needed a man in my life, the women didn't try to flood me with advice. They offered prayer, and they just lifted me up in prayer, and they helped me through each moment, surrendering moment by moment, day by day, just encouraging and loving me through the pain. And I just think about how now I'm getting married, and I can't help but feel a little emotional about just the way that these women have loved me. And I know that I would not be where I am in my walk today with God if it wasn't for these women and the life groups and just the way they love and support and encourage each other through prayer and just processing life.
I've been going to Riverview for 2 to 3 years now, and I started going, and I came by myself because it was something that my husband wasn't into at the time, and it's something I wanted to pursue. So I came here and joined Life Group. There was this sermon called I Was Called to Fight. And I remember listening to the sermon and going to Life Group, and when we showed up, the one great thing about Life Group is we're all pretty real, and so we say our opinions, and I was kind of upset because I felt like I didn't have that warrior. So what did that mean to me as a woman and a wife? And Michelle was there, and she decided to do the whole Life Group from the woman's point of view instead of the man's point of view, which gave me this whole new perspective of what my job as a wife is and what it meant to be submissive to my husband. And I remember leaving Life Group just feeling so much better because I knew that my job was to rejoice with God, and that if I let God in my life, that my husband would be able to see God through me. So I went home that night, and I am talking to him about the whole sermon because I'm just excited, and it just made me feel better. And he listened to me, and I told him about what it was to be a warrior and how I was kind of sad about that, but I just kind of left it alone. And that, I don't know if it was a couple Sundays ago after that, we had our 10-year reunion. And I'm getting ready to go, and I look over, and my husband looked at me and he said, "If I'm going to be your warrior, I need to start going to church." And from that day on, he has come to church with me and gotten involved. And it just made me realize that God has perfect timing, and all of us have a story. And it's the beginning of his story, but it's part of my story too. And I'm just thankful that Riverview has been able to bring that into my life and into my husband's life.